I wasn't looking for anything. That's the part that sticks with me the most. The moment everything started, I wasn't snooping. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't chasing ghosts. I was just plugging in her phone. Maya had left it on the couch, the battery was at 3%, and we were about to head out for dinner with friends. I grabbed it to plug it into the charger the way I've done 100 times before. The message lit up the screen. Can't stop thinking about last night. No name, just a number. I stared at it like it was written in another language. I read it again. Same words. Same timestamp. 6 minutes ago. My brain stuttered. That's the only word I can use to describe it. Stuttered. I'm not the jealous type. I never have been. Maya and I have been together for 9 years, married for 5. We have routines, shared playlists, inside jokes, the same worn-in arguments about how she forgets to rinse the blender. But in that moment, none of that mattered. I stood there holding her phone, and for the first time in our marriage, I felt something I had no name for. Not rage, not fear, not even sadness, just silence. A space where something used to live. I didn't open the message. Instead, I walked into the bedroom, where she was brushing her hair in front of the mirror, already dressed for dinner. I asked casually, "Hey, someone just texted you. You want me to tell them you're busy?" She looked up, met my eyes in the mirror. "What did it say?" she asked too quickly. I shrugged. Didn't read it. Just said something about last night. She froze, just for a second. Barely perceptible. But I know her. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, smiled lightly. Probably Kate. We were up late talking. She had a fight with James. I nodded slowly. Was it her number? She added, not looking at me now. No name came up. She shrugged again, casual as hell. She probably used a different number. Her phone's always acting up. I let it go. At least. I made it look like I let it go. But something felt off. The explanation didn't match the weight behind her reaction. I knew how Maya lied. Not because she did it often, but because she did it poorly. She'd add too much detail. A name. A secondary reason. Something to flood the space where doubt might grow. I didn't ask more questions. I didn't accuse her of anything. But the truth is, I didn't believe her. And that's when the unraveling began. It's a strange thing what your mind does when it wants to believe something. It starts patching holes with excuses. Maya was tired. Maya was stressed. Maya wouldn't do that to me. You start filling in cracks before you even understand how deep they run. But once doubt enters the room, it doesn't leave. It watches. It waits. And it whispers. I didn't bring it up again that night. Dinner went smoothly. Maya laughed when she was supposed to, touched my arm in front of our friends, kissed me on the cheek in the car. But something in her eyes was missing. Or maybe I was just finally seeing it. The next morning I checked the number. Not because I wanted to spy, but because I couldn't stand the silence in my own head. I waited until she was in the shower, then picked up her phone. She didn't change the passcode. There it was again. The message. Same number. No name. The thread was short. Maybe she deleted everything else. But one reply from her remained. You can't text me like that. That's all it said. No emojis. No warmth. Just a firm instruction. But not a denial. Not a don't ever contact me again. Just a be more careful. I screenshotted it and sent it to myself. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I searched the number. Reverse lookup. Burner app. IP pings. Everything I could do with basic tools and a very stubborn sense of curiosity. It led nowhere. No name. No matches. Just a single result that the number was registered through a texting app. That's when I knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't Kate using a different phone. It was someone else. Someone careful. Someone familiar. I started thinking about the last few weeks. Maya had been distant, but not drastically so. Just small things. Canceling date night. Wearing perfume to run errands. Turning her phone face down when she used to leave it wide open. It's amazing how quickly you can rewrite the past when you're looking for clues. Everything becomes a clue. Every laugh, every sigh, every text she didn't show you. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started watching, tracking patterns. Who she talked about, who she didn't, what nights she came home late, what excuses she gave, if she mentioned someone new even in passing. Because if I was going to find out the truth, it had to come from her. And it had to come without warning. The human brain has a strange relationship with waiting. It's both the easiest thing to do and the hardest thing to endure. I told myself I wasn't going to act on impulse. I wasn't going to become some suspicious husband rifling through drawers and checking tire tread for signs of detours. I told myself I would be patient. But patience, in this case, was just controlled panic. I started paying closer attention to her routines. The little lies. She said she had drinks with coworkers one Friday night, but didn't mention which ones. Normally she'd name them all Megan, Paul, the ones she liked, the ones she couldn't stand. But this time, just a vague "we all went out." When she came home, her hair smelled like cologne. Not perfume, not smoke, not alcohol. Cologne. I didn't mention it. I pretended to be half asleep on the couch. She leaned in and kissed my forehead. Whispered, "You're out cold." But I wasn't. I was memorizing the scent she didn't realize she was carrying in with her. I thought about that number. Still unnamed. Still unanswered. Still sitting in the back of my mind like a splinter I couldn't pull out. One night, I asked casually over dinner, "Hey, do you still talk to Kate much?" She blinked, tilted her head. "Kate? Of course. Why?" "Just wondering," I said. "Haven't heard her name in a while." There was a pause. A long pause. Then she smiled and said, "She's been busy. Stuff with her kid." We moved on. Talked about movies, the weather, new pillows for the living room. But the pause stayed with me. It wasn't the words she used. It was the pause. Like she had to remember which lie she told me last. That night, I didn't sleep much. I kept replaying that text in my head. Can't stop thinking about last night. Was it someone from work? Someone she used to know? A stranger she met at a conference? I didn't know what answer would hurt less. At 3:12 a.m., I opened my laptop and made a decision. If she wouldn't tell me who it was, I'd find him myself. The first thing I did was pull up our phone records. Maya and I shared a plan. I had access to billing details, calls, texts, data logs. I had never looked before, never needed to, until now. I filtered for the unknown number, and there it was. Daily messages. Every single day for the last 3 months. Most were brief. Some were long. All late at night, or during the day when I was at work. The number didn't call her. Just texts. Always texts. I cross-referenced times. Matched them to when she said she was at the store at yoga with friends. And then I saw something that made my stomach turn. A timestamp on a Sunday morning. 9:02 a.m. The exact time we were supposed to be out getting brunch together. I remember that day clearly because she had texted me saying she was running late. Her nails took longer than expected. She wasn't getting her nails done. She was texting him. I didn't even know who he was yet. But I hated him. And I hated that I could no longer trust my own memories. That everything was now suspect. Brunch, dinner, sex, especially sex. I started thinking about how she had been distant in bed lately. Not cold, not disinterested, just distracted. Like her body was there, but the rest of her was someplace else. Now I knew where, or rather, with who. Still, I hadn't said anything. Not to her, not to friends, not even to myself out loud. Because once you speak it, it's real. So I kept digging. Quietly. A few days later, when she left her phone in the bathroom to shower, I checked it again. I knew the passcode. She still hadn't changed it. The message thread with the unknown number was gone. She deleted it. Not just the texts, the entire contact. No trace. No record. Just blank space. She was covering her tracks now. I stood there staring at the screen, heart thudding in my ears, and realized something very simple and very devastating. She knows what she's doing. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't some lost kiss she regretted. This was a calculated effort to hide someone from me. And that meant this was real. All I had to do now was catch it in the open and decide what to do with it. It's strange how quickly a relationship can hollow out once you stop pretending it's full. We still had dinner together. We still folded laundry. She still asked about my day and I still asked about hers. But there was something between us now. Something you couldn't see but you could feel. Like static in the air before a storm. One night, she stood at the sink washing dishes, her back to me, and I realized I didn't know who I was looking at anymore. I knew her shape, her laugh, the freckles on her shoulder, but everything inside that familiar frame felt foreign now. Borrowed. Hidden. That's when I realized I needed to see him. The man behind the messages. I didn't want to know him. I wanted to see him. Just once. I needed to know what kind of man steps into another man's marriage like it's nothing. I needed to know what Maya saw in him. Was he better than me? Younger? More successful? Or was he just new? That's what scared me most. The possibility that none of this was about love. That it wasn't about passion or connection or anything meaningful. That it was just novelty. I started going through her car when she wasn't around. Looking for receipts, wrappers, evidence of detours. I opened the glove compartment and found nothing. Just insurance forms and a melted lip balm. I checked the trunk. Nothing. Then I looked under the passenger seat and saw it. A folded parking stub. Not from a mall. Not from work. Not from the places she usually mentioned. It was for a hotel. A small business hotel off the freeway, about 20 minutes from our house. The timestamp was from a Thursday. The same Thursday she had told me she was working late because her team had a deadline. I sat in the driveway for a long time holding that parking stub like it was radioactive. She had lied to my face. And it wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. She had planned to lie. She got dressed, drove there, met him, came home, kissed me on the mouth and asked if I wanted tea. The quiet rage I felt that night wasn't loud or violent. It was surgical, precise. That was the moment I stopped hoping she'd come clean and started preparing for the fallout. I knew confronting her wouldn't work. She was too careful now. Whatever guilt she had left, she'd buried under layers of practiced casualness and routine. So I decided to flip the script. I waited until a Friday night, the kind of night she usually found a reason to get drinks with coworkers, and casually mentioned that I'd be heading out of town Saturday morning. My cousin had invited me on a fishing trip. Nothing fancy, just a day and a half. She barely reacted, just said, "Sounds nice," which told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't concerned about me being gone. She was calculating what she could do with the window of time. I made it a point to pack a duffel bag and leave it by the front door. I let her see it. I left Saturday morning like I said I would. Got in the car, drove 2 blocks, parked, and waited. 3 hours later, she left the house. I followed from a distance, kept just far enough behind to not raise suspicion, but close enough to track her. My palms were sweating. I told myself maybe she was going shopping. Maybe I was wrong. She wasn't. She pulled into the same hotel from the parking stub, checked in, disappeared inside. I waited 15 minutes, then parked down the street, got out, walked calmly through the lobby. And there it was, room 217. I asked the front desk for an extra toothbrush. Said my wife had checked in ahead of me and forgot to pack mine. The clerk gave me a blank look but handed it over. I walked to the second floor, past faded carpet and vending machines, and stood in front of the door. I didn't knock. I didn't want a scene. I just wanted to hear it. Voices, laughter, silence, then movement. I stood there and listened to my marriage fall apart on the other side of a hollow wood door. And for the first time, I didn't feel confused. I felt free, because now I didn't have to wonder anymore. I didn't go in. I thought I might. For weeks I pictured that scene in my head. Me kicking down the door, catching them tangled in bedsheets, her screaming, him scrambling for his pants. But none of that would have changed anything. I already had what I came for, confirmation. I left the hotel quietly, got back in my car, and drove to the lake. Not to fish, not to think. Just to exist for a while in a place where nothing was false. No voices, no lies, just wind and water and the simple fact that everything I knew about my wife had been rewritten. The rest of that weekend moved like a film reel missing frames. I checked into a motel, ate cheap food, stared at my phone for hours without touching it. She called once. I didn't answer. On Sunday night, I came home. She was there, kitchen light on, dressed in sweatpants, hair in a bun like she hadn't gone anywhere, like she hadn't spent the last 2 nights in another man's arms. She smiled when I walked in. Smiled. "Hey," she said. "You're back early." I looked at her. That face, that voice, that same calmness she had used to lie to me every day for God knows how long. I almost didn't recognize her anymore. Or maybe I finally did. I walked past her, set my keys down and said, "We need to talk." She paused. Her face changed just slightly, like she knew her part in the play had ended, and now she'd have to speak without a script. I told her I knew. About the messages. About the number. About the hotel. And then I watched it all fall apart in real time. First, she denied it. Swore it was nothing. Said I misunderstood. That I was twisting things. That it wasn't what it looked like. Then came the crying. The begging. She said she made a mistake. That she still loved me. That it was just a phase. That it didn't mean anything. But here's the thing people never understand about betrayal. It's not the act that breaks you. It's the rewriting, the pretending, the months of looking someone in the eye and telling them a story you both know is false. It's the hollow space left where trust used to live. That's what you can't fix. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just told her the truth. "You don't come back from this." She asked if I was leaving her. I said no. She had already left me. She just forgot to pack. The next few weeks were logistics, lawyer calls, paperwork, dividing furniture, friends taking sides quietly, her sending long, emotional emails I didn't read, me returning them with short, factual replies. I moved out first, got a 1-bedroom downtown. Nothing fancy, just mine. The silence was overwhelming at first, but over time it stopped being silence. It became peace. One night I sat on the couch, eating takeout, watching the rain hit the windows, and I realized I hadn't thought about her all day. Not once. That's when I knew I was healing. Not because I forgave her. Not because I was over it. But because I finally accepted the truth. I deserved more than someone who had to be caught, to be honest. And I would never forget the sound of that text lighting up her screen. "Can't stop thinking about last night." Neither can I, but for very different reasons.